Alcoholics Anonymous has a 95% failure rate. 95. Imagine a tax specialist with a 5% success rate who says that you need to have daily meetings for the rest of your life and you must call yourself financially broken forever. Would you hire them? I certainly wouldn't. I'm Emma Kinsey, and over the last 2 years, I've helped more than 200 professionals achieve permanent freedom from alcohol with a 98% success rate, using neuroscience and not philosophy from 1935. I'm going to break down the 5 brutal truths that make AA fail 95% of people and show you the 4 freedom method that fixes every single one. So, flaw number 1, AA tells you you're powerless over alcohol. Dr. Carol Dweck at Stanford studied 2,000 people trying to change a behavior. She put them into 2 different groups. Group A says that you're powerless and you need constant support. Group B were told you're in control, you've got this, you can do it. After 6 months, Group A had a 64% higher failure rates. Why? Because their brains literally started looking for evidence that they couldn't do it. Every setback became proof of powerlessness. And when you say I'm powerless, your prefrontal cortex, the decision-making center, shows 47% reduced activation. Your amygdala, the fear center, increases. This creates learned helplessness. Your brain stops looking for solutions because it believes that they just generally don't exist. Now let's be real. Someone or something only has control if I give it control. And I never would do that to alcohol. So you might be thinking, but Emma, doesn't believing that you're powerless make you more humble? Absolutely not. It just makes you dependent. Humility is recognizing you need a better method, not accepting that you're broken forever. And that's the first component of the 4 freedom method, is the mental freedom, where you reclaim control over your thoughts and you break the autopilot patterns. Now this brings us on to flaw number 2, that AA tells you to count the days forever. Your brain has an attention spotlight controlled by your anterior cingulate cortex. Now, when you count the days, day 47, your spotlight is on alcohol. Your brain treats alcohol as if it's still relevant. Now, research shows that the anterior cingulate activates 78% more when you're counting the days. More activation means that alcohol stays central to your identity. So day 1, alcohol might feel distant. By day 45, it feels close again. Why? Because you're constantly measuring your distance from it. When you stop counting the days and shift to a lifestyle, alcohol becomes distant. Now, I've been alcohol-free for over 10 years. Do I know the exact date? Absolutely not. I know it's between September and December, but the day I stopped counting was the day that alcohol stopped being the main character. Think about vegetarians. They don't say, I'm on day 127 vegetarian. It's simply a lifestyle for them. So after day 30, if you can shift away from saying I'm 30 days alcohol-free to saying I'm somebody who doesn't drink, those identity-based statements create 340% stronger neural patterns. That's mental freedom. But here's where it gets worse. Flaw number 3, AA trades alcohol dependency for meetings and sponsor dependency. The initial plan for AA is 90 meetings in 90 days. Call your sponsor daily, and if you stop going, you're not working the program, and you can't leave without being labeled a failure. Dr. Stanford Peel studied this for 40 years, and AA creates a dependency on that external support instead of creating internal resilience. Now, research shows that 90% of drinkers aren't physically dependent, they're socially and emotionally dependent. AA only addresses the physical withdrawals and then replaces the social and the emotional dependency with meetings. But you might be asking, what about community? Don't we need support? Absolutely, but there's a difference between temporary support and lifelong dependency. My clients build independent support. Accountability partners that they choose, fitness communities, business networks, people who see them as whole and not as broken. Now, you want community, not captivity. You want support, but not surrender. And this is a social freedom, building social confidence and autonomous decision-making without constant external validation. Now, here's the thing that really gets me. AA was written in 1935. Before neuroscience, before brain imaging, before we understood anything about the brain, neuroplasticity, dopamine, and prefrontal cortex. Now, this reminds me of a client who was in AA for 7 years before joining the program. And we started looking at some brain scans showing the dopamine regulation. And he asked me, I've been in AA for 7 years. Why haven't I seen anything like this? And simply it's because it didn't exist in 1935. In 100 years, neuroscience has exploded. We understand habit loops, reward systems, dopamine restoration, how to reverse withdrawal. Yet AA simply hasn't updated at all. It's still the same 12 steps written by 2 men with 0 scientific training. And you might ask, yeah, but what if it's helped millions of people? Doesn't that prove it works? Absolutely not. It proves that 5% can have success. despite a flawed method. When 95% fail, that's systematic failure. And if you're anything like me and you're analytical, you don't take advice written 100 years ago that has no scientific foundation. You want methods based on current neuroscience. And that's the physical freedom, the second component of the 4 freedom method, restoring your brain's dopamine function and eliminating withdrawals using 2025 neuroscience, not 1935 guesswork. But flaw number 5 is the one that really gets me. It's that you have to say that I'm an alcoholic forever. Even after 20 years from your last drink, always broken, always one drink away from a disaster. Now, Dr. James Prokaski's research shows that identity transformation, seeing yourself as fundamentally different, is the final and most crucial stage of any permanent change. AA prevents this stage. You're locked into that broken identity forever. When you're saying I'm an alcoholic, your reticular activation system, the brain's filter, looks for evidence confirming this identity, and you'll notice alcohol everywhere you go. You'll be hypervigilant. But when you adapt and I'm alcohol free, I'm just somebody who doesn't drink, I value clarity, your RAS shifts. It looks for evidence of health, performance, growth. This creates 83% higher long-term success rates. Now you might be asking, but isn't accepting that you're an alcoholic the first step in recovery? Abso-fucking-lutely not. It's the first stage to permanent identification with the problem. The client I mentioned earlier who'd been in AA for 7 years, he believed that he was an alcoholic. And when we started working together, I said, we're not using that label. It's not going to be useful. And by the end, when he got true alcohol freedom, he said that that label was keeping him stuck and giving him an excuse to act in a certain way. I am not an alcoholic. I never was. I never will be. I was somebody who was drinking too much. It was having a negative impact in my life. So I chose to become alcohol free because it better aligns with my values in my life. That's the emotional freedom, the 4th component of the 4 freedom method, the complete identity transformation. You see yourself as whole and capable, not as broken forever. So you want to know why I hate AA? 3 weeks ago, somebody DM'd me on Instagram. And he said, Emma, I've been sober for 3 years. I go to meetings every day. I talk to my sponsor every morning. And he asked me, what do you do to stay alcohol free? And I responded, like, nothing. And I felt bad, but I was like, no, I don't do anything. And he responded and he was like, what do you mean? What do you do to like stay present, stay focused? And I was like, nothing, because I removed the desire to drink. I have no desire to drink, so I don't need to do anything. I don't need to go to meetings. I don't call sponsors. I just live my life. Alcohol just isn't, it's just completely irrelevant, right? And that's why I hate AA. Not because it helps 5% of the people who go, but because it tells these brilliant people, just like him, that he's broken forever and he'll always need to go to meetings, sponsors and everything. It's not true. He's not broken. He just needs a method that actually works. So if you reject powerlessness, you refuse to count the days forever, you want independency, not dependency, you value 2025 neuroscience over 1935 philosophy, and you refuse to call yourself broken for the rest of your life, here's what to do. I've created a free masterclass, How to Get Control Over Alcohol. Inside that, you'll see the complete 4 freedom method, mental freedom that stops the autopilot patterns, physical freedom that helps restore dopamine and eliminates withdrawals, social freedom that builds confidence without meetings, emotional freedom that helps to transform your identity completely. The link is in the description below. Registration takes 15 seconds max, and then you'll get instant access to the 25-minute masterclass. Or you can be like the guy in my DMs. 3 years in, white knuckling it, struggling, still going to meetings every day, still wondering what the secret is to staying alcohol free forever. And there's nothing wrong with you. You just need the right method. So for more neuroscience-based approaches, not recovery advice, but systematic methods for analytical thinkers who reject powerlessness, hit subscribe. And remember, you're not powerless. You don't need to count the days forever. You're certainly not broken. You just haven't found the right approach yet. And that's why you found me. So welcome. See you in the next video.